Okay, so let me show you where I actually recorded GPS positions. This is the same bridge I drove with the BeeMobile. I marked some arrows, top of curbs, manholes, and arrows, triangles that were actually around here. Something that I thought that the BeeMobile would have picked up. So I have the coordinates. I have identified, or at least for the sake of this exercise, I have identified this arrow, which happens to be, hold on, if I do this, zoom to selection, it's this guy in this curve over here, on ramp. So what I do is, how you do this, I will just create a brand new project. We'll call it video. Hit OK. I'll import. This happens to be the BeeMobile project. These 4 scans, because I drove the bridge 4 times. Launch. And you'll notice that this is essentially the area. And if I zoom in down to the arrow here, which happens to be a bicycle lane, I guess, you can clearly kind of see that there's a correlation already. So I can't move my mouse, but at the bottom left over here we have a coordinate of x, 494,558 meters by 4,272,563 meters and negative 3644. Now if I look at the actual coordinates here, these are really relatively close, and the actual closeness is displayed right here. So this is where you can actually pick the BeeMobile data set at the end of that same arrow, and then the GPS data set that is measured by me having gone there with the GPS rover. The differences are what, 6 centimeters over here, yes, 60 centimeters here, and in the Z it's always going to be this high. So this is normal. So it's relatively close, and mind you, the BeeMobile data is really just from BFlex, just imported into ReCap. I made the video a little faster so it looks like I did something to it, but so I need to shift the whole coordinate system of the point cloud by this much, and this is just a transformation. This is not a rotation. This is not scaling. So how you do it in ReCap is you actually have to update the origin. The origin at this moment, if you look at it, is displayed here. So what I'll do is, instead I'll update the origin right here and do my best pick that I can right here. Well, maybe a little bit better, maybe like that. Again, this is only as good as what you can actually pick, but I'll hit OK. This updates the actual origin, which means when I look at the ReCap project right now, if I zoom into the same area and you look at the origin update, now it's a 000, but the origin is right here. Oddly enough, now this is something that I had to find out the hard way. Instead of putting the values that you want on there, these are the values that I want, these are the values that it had. I know I might be off a little bit, so this isn't exactly, but we're talking a centimeter or 2 off here. I have to input these values, so I'll do this. I'll say Control C, and we'll go Control V, except I have to put in a negative value, which is odd. I don't know why. Well, maybe not. Hold on. Oh, apparently you have to keep typing it in. This is another little bug. Not the bug, but something that I found out later. So 494,558.422, negative 4272.562.401, and then the positive 34.615. Again, I'll just, that's what the values should be. And you can see that the values are what they need to be. So they're just negative. So negative, 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 and positive. Okay, so the numbers match, meaning when you hit the OK button, this hole goes away. And now I look at it from top down, you'll notice that my origin, being right here, is now where it needs to be. So my updated origin is, it recenters to, if you look at it, the origin is back to in the middle of the actual bay over here. But the coordinates of that arrow that I specified to be in the range of, they're supposed to be 34,615 for elevation, and you can see that it is 6.5, and depending on where I actually hover. So it's supposed to be 55842. We're picking 44 over here. Then it's supposed to be 56240, and I'm reading 40. So it definitely shifted everything for me. So what I'll do now is I'll just hit save, and I'll close ReCap, and we'll minimize this. And what I'll do is I'll open up Civil, any program of course, but I happen to have this here. So I'll do Civil 3D, let it load up. I have a couple of ribbons that open, and again, I'm not a Civil 3D user, so I by no means am really versed in this, but it lets me at least see the points that I surveyed compared to the actual point cloud that I'm bringing in. So I'll insert my point cloud meters. Okay, so everything's loaded in. Now what I need to do is I need to actually insert from points. I am going to insert them as easting, northing, elevation. That's northing, that's the easting. Oh, hold on, that's the wrong format. PENEZD, there we go. So this is easting, northing, elevation. This is correct. Comma separated, hit OK. And if we zoom to this point over here, 104, should be at the end of that actual line, which we specified, which would be right here. So you see it kind of lines up. Now the trouble with this is typically in 3D, when you rotate in Civil, the marker goes away, so you have to change the basic style of the actual point. In model view we want to see it, so show it. Okay, now it's there. Possibly what's also useful is actually make it also display point, elevation, and description. And that way make it a little bit smaller, maybe 100. There we go. So we can actually see that it says point number 104, elevation -3462, and it's an arrow because that was the end of the arrow. So this is the origin, so I would expect it to actually work. But what is cool is, for example, this is down the road over here, right? So I believe I have a couple other points. Arrow, oh, like a grate over here, right? So grate edge, you see that it's really on the very edge here from the off the point cloud. So there's very little deviation. It's not a perfect point, I get it, but again, it shows that it carried the single point transformation to the correct position horizontally. Elevation is a little bit of a suspect, but again, that's GPS, so I'm not that surprised. Let's see where are other points that are cool to actually check out. Let's go. Oh, there's a manhole point, MH, right here, and it's at the very far end of the whole project, and you can see that the little X, which is the actual point that is supposed to be the GPS versus the actual point cloud, is a little low. And what we can do is we can get a distance or a dimension on this. We can go from over here to this point over here. Hold on. Whoops. I'm trying to do something that... Oh, well, that didn't actually work the way I hoped it would show easily. It's just that there's too many points, or too few points in this region, but let me do this. Let me cut this up a little bit. There we go. So we can actually have a look at it from, you know, an angle here. So if I now try to, let's do this again. Distance from here to, oh, you know why? Because this is a large coordinate transformation. So I don't have the snaps on. All right, let's try a different point where there's denser data. So right over here. So you can see that horizontally, as far as the end of the arrow, the data is sparse because I only drove it once, or actually in this case twice. But let me cut it up again, just a little bit around here. Enter. So you see that there are two lines, definitely two lines. Let me see if I can do a dimension over here. Distance to, let's say, hey, I don't need the ortho. Wait a minute. I have ortho on. And we need to do snapping. S 3D snap is on. Oh, there we go. Oh, I know why this is happening. The coordinate transformation is too big. And whenever you have a coordinate transformation in CAD, it really dislikes. Come on. You know you can work. Oh, well, I guess we can go this way. So the distance isn't displayed the way I wanted it to show you. Hold on. Let's do this again. Oh, that's because it's not snapping. In 3D, I want to do node. That's correct. Hit OK. All right, let's just go from here to here. So the distance is 4 centimeters. It's not horrible. And this is the furthest actual point that I could identify. The manhole and other points that are on the, you know, on this bend over here are not very visible. Just investigating, it looks like it actually did work. Relatively okay. It's not perfect, but again, nothing is perfect and it's not supposed to be exactly perfect. I don't need to tell you what to expect out of this thing. The only one thing that I kind of found by doing this is when I slice around right here, where my origin of my actual coordinate system was or is, I noticed that when I tilt this, I'm like, oops, I didn't realize that there were actually two planes. So I know there is, if I click the point cloud, come on. All right, let's just do point cloud manager. I see that this is a project and this is another drive down. So the two drives that were ending and starting in the same spot but going in opposite directions have a small shift. Well, small shift. There's definitely a vertical shift over here. So that's the one thing that I didn't notice originally. And what we will do is we'll try to click, and then let's see, and we'll just do a vertical distance. See, there's a vertical distance of what, 39 millimeters. So not horrible, but that's the distance between these two. And again, mind you, why it's snapping this stupidly is because the coordinates, them being UTMs, CAD really doesn't like it. And when you have large coordinate transformations, the snapping feature, when you want to draw something, let's say I'm going to draw a 3D polyline or something, you'll notice that instead of going right below the actual, or where the crosshairs is, it goes above or at different zoom levels elsewhere. So that little blue thing is, and that's really just a reason for having a really large coordinate transformation. But all in all, it does seem to work. And just by virtue of having one control point adjusted based on its true positions, or, well, let's assume better positions with GPS than what the BeeMobile might have done. And I'm not saying that the GPS was more accurate than what the BeeMobile was able to actually get, but we just have to call something true. So these are my findings. What I'll do is I'll just finish this video and send you the dataset. All right. Hopefully you saw what you needed to see.